An unknown phenomenon brings down a passenger jet and reveals a hidden danger no one knew about before. 137 people die. Like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to see more videos like this. This is Plane Crash Investigation about Delta Flight 191. August 2nd, 1985. Delta's newest aircraft is the Lockheed L1011 TriStar. It's very reliable and the technology inside the cockpit is way ahead of time. The onboard flight computers assist pilots and the autopilot can even perform an automated landing. A technology that's very unusual for planes in the mid-80s. One of those L1011s is performing Delta Flight 191 from Fort Lauderdale in Florida to Dallas Fort Worth in Texas. Back in the days, DFW used to be one of Delta's major hubs. Captain of this flight is 57-year-old Edward Ted Connors, a very experienced pilot with more than 29,000 hours of flight time logged, 3,000 of which had been on the TriStar. Pilot flying on this leg is First Officer Rudolph Price. He had about 6,500 hours in total, 1,200 in the L1011. While the aircraft is in cruise over the southern parts of the US, huge thunderstorms are developing all over the Midwest. Storm cells are popping up over several states. Some of them are supercells and develop tornadoes during the late afternoon hours. At about 5:45 in the evening, Flight 191 is on its approach into DFW. The cockpit crew starts to be concerned about the weather and asks air traffic control for different vectors to avoid a storm cell on their flight path. 2 minutes after 6 o'clock, Delta 191 gets cleared for an ILS approach into runway 17 left. The tower controller tells the crew that there's rain on the north side of the airport and that they should expect wind blowing at 5 knots with gusts up to 15 knots. That's nothing unusual and well within the limits of an L1011. At 6:05, the plane is 1,000 feet above the ground, stabilized and fully configured for landing when rain hits the cockpit windows. The captain warns the first officer, "You're gonna lose it all of a sudden," and tells him to push the throttles way up. Shortly after that, the plane loses altitude. It never recovered from that descent. The angle of attack is over 30 degrees and varies wildly over the next few seconds. The aircraft's GPWS, the ground proximity warning system, goes off and starts to give a pull-up warning since the aircraft is now well below the glide slope. The crew is fighting for altitude as the captain calls out a go-around by saying toga, but it's too late. Only a few seconds later, the landing gear made contact with a field only 2 kilometers north of the runway threshold. The plane gets airborne again and touches back down on the field for several times before it strikes a street light and a car on Highway 114. The 20-year-old driver gets instantly killed. A few seconds later, Delta 191 hits water tanks right behind the airport fence and explodes in a huge fireball. From the 163 people on board, only 27 survive. But what exactly brought down this Lockheed L1011 on Delta Flight 191? The investigation of the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, deemed the cause of the accident to be a pilot error for their decision to fly through a thunderstorm in combination with an almost unknown phenomenon called downburst or microburst. A downburst is basically a strong wind blowing straight towards the ground. As soon as it hits the surface, it spreads in all directions. Aircraft flying through it will experience a very strong headwind, shifting immediately to a tailwind. As the headwind increases the speed of air flowing over the wings, it generates more lift. But as soon as the wind is changing its direction, the tailwind will decrease the amount of lift the wings can generate, and the plane drops down. Today there are wind shear alert systems installed on every major airport all over the world, and flight crews received training on how to escape downbursts and, most importantly, how to avoid them in the first place, so that a tragedy like this will never happen again. Which accident should we cover in our next episode? Leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell and share this video to help this channel grow and enable us to bring you more episodes of Plane Crash Investigation.